You see this 1/4, that means we can page again, and by paging we're moving through the effects channels 1, 2, 3, 4. For the input, generally we'll select the raw synth and then we'll put an effect on. So here effects channel 1 has the delay line. Here's a raw synth going into the phaser. Here let's put the raw synth into a chorus flange, and then here let's say the raw synth into the EQ. Now also note, once you have selected an effect and used it, it's pulled out of the what we call the effects pool, so it's no longer available for any of the other effects channels. So here we've got one effects per channel, and again what we'll have coming out of outputs 1 and 2 is the delayed sound, and phaser and chorus flanger and EQ. That's one way of handling it. The other thing would be to go back here, and let's say we wanted to take the output of the, let's say we want to take the FX channel 3, which is our chorus and flanger, but we want to route that back into the delay line next. So I could go here, instead of taking the raw synth, I could dial up FX channel 3 as my input. So now that's the dry synth going through the chorus flanger, and now it's going through the delay line. So in this case, output number 1 would be dry synth into chorus into delay coming out here, whereas just the dry chorused one would come out here. So what we tried to do here is make it a really flexible system where you can route things in series or parallel, and also, by the way, each synth channel can route things in series as well. So here, or let's do it like this. Here we'd have chorus flanger into delay all in that one channel. So anyway, very flexible system, and that's what we decided to do for the effects output. Okay, next group. This group has to do with the vector mixers, or VS modes, and the amplitude modulation sections. Originally, again, on the front panel I had one button for this, and you had to hit it repeatedly to toggle between the two. Same for the amplitude modulation sections. So now they're just broken out separately. I think these are pretty much already explained. Inputs, levels for each, and modulation for the X and Y. And they have two sets of those. The AM, amplitude modulation, generally if you say ring mod, people will know what that is. But there are also a couple of other ways to do it: clipping, absolute, and shift. These are just different algorithms of multiplying the amplitudes of the two inputs, the carrier and the modulator. And again, they can be audio sources or sub-audio sources. Control here simply allows me to shape the output. Usually I'll use an envelope, and then you want to have full amount generally. The looping envelope, I think we've seen that in another video. It's still as it was. Shaper is new. The shaper can take any output. Generally we've got control signals here, but again, if you go up to the end, you'll see there's some audio inputs as well. The shaper will take this input signal and put it into 18, we might call bins or divisions, and each of those values are stored and can be replaced by the user. So if the point says 0, then the value that it was stored on the coming in is going to be the same on the way out of the shaper, but the user can redo this table basically and make up customized points along the way of the input signal. So that's the shaper, and that's pretty much it. You want to turn up the gain, make that guy work. Okay, let's look at the next group. This group has 4 key tables, 4 lag processors, and an envelope follower. Now you'll notice that there are the 4 key tables broken out separately, but not so with the lag processors. Well, there's not really too much to a lag processor. There's a time of smoothing, and there's an input select. So we just thought we'd save space and put all those together. However, you'll see the key table is a little more complicated. So all of these things, the key tables, the lag processors, and the envelope follower, all appear in the mod source list. And here's what we can do with the key tables. Okay, current key number is being shown as I play across the keyboard. C60 is in the middle. There are no active points here, so there's nothing in this key table. However, let's say I go to F sharp 66 and I want a new value, so I'm going to fix it at a certain value, and I'm going to go down to the F sharp below it and I'm going to fix it as at another value. Now as we play in between these two notes, you'll see the previous note that was set, or the previous point in the table, was note 54 with a value of 2. The current note I'm playing has an interpolated value, and the next note that's been assigned has a value of 13. So there's only these 2 points active in the table, and as I play between them or below them, all of the values are interpolated. Oops, sorry about that. Moving the camera. So we have 4 of these, and we could actually put a different value on each key if you wanted, and create customized key tracking tables. Over here we see an initialization, and again, if you want to clear the table, just dial that to active and press enter, and that clears the table. So that's that. In terms of lag processing, that's just a way to smooth out things. Originally my idea was to take this sequence rows and add a smoothing output, but this is actually more flexible because we can select from any of the controllers or even the audio sources. Everything's still in the list, or other lag processors, and we can take the inputs here and smooth them out. Basically it acts like a glide control. It's just filtering out the input to make it slowly change, instead of an abrupt change like with a sequence where you'd have discrete steps and discrete values that would be jumping around. Here you can use this to make a nice smooth transition. The envelope follower, I think that's been explained quickly. You can take an input of audio or controllers, which probably is not going to be a big deal, and apply attack and release controls to it, generate an output signal that's like an envelope. This is typically how you'd use it with a microphone or a guitar and sweep a filter. It's kind of your wah-wah effect that has become very popular. Okay, last pages, or last set of soft keys, is the system and MIDI. These things are not stored in a preset, unlike the other parameters that we've just seen, and this will control overall tuning of the synth in real time. It's not stored. Load BPM, if this is on, as you select through presets, the beats per minute that's stored in the preset will be called up. If you wanted to, on the other hand, leave it at a fixed BPM and then step through presets, that's what you would do. You'd turn this off. Load with the outputs, it's a similar thing with the effects outputs assignment, because every preset can have all of those outputs designed or programmed, but sometimes you might want to just set up SPDIF as your output, and you don't want to go through and have to edit every program. So you can just turn that off, or you can say, yeah, no, go ahead and load the output configuration with each preset. Sample image. The sample image, first you dial this up and it says select enter to select an image file. Now on your compact flash card you're going to have a number of, or you can have many different sample images. The image can't be bigger than 32 megabytes. That's our sample RAM that we have in the system per DSP. But by pressing the enter button the first time, it scans the card and reports back how many sample images. Now I only have 2 here, so I'm going to load sample image number 1. I press enter again now to load the file, and you'll see the names of the samples come across. And then when we're done, we'll be back at this page here.